How the heretics? This is my friend Sam Young, and we're old geezers and we cannot get the microphones to work. So sorry about that. We have to reschedule. But, you know, politicians don't know how it is to grow up in a cult, but I do, and my friend Sam does. And the cults have lawyers to protect them, and the children have activists like me and Sam that do this on a spare time. And I just want to congratulate him because they had a minor victory. And this is just a teaser because we have to reschedule when we get the microphone to work. But maybe we can just congratulate Sam, and I will unmute me. No, I will mute me and unmute him, and then we will not have the echo. So this is just a teaser, and we apologize, but it's a small victory, and we need to celebrate. So I give the word to my friend Sam.
Okay, well, greetings. I'm a former member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormons, and also known as LDS. A few years ago, I started objecting to a policy in the Mormon Church that was harming thousands upon thousands of children every year. That policy was to take children behind closed doors every 6 months, all alone with a man, and that man was there to assess their worthiness before God for various reasons. And they had full purview. In fact, they had instructions to ask sexual questions of the children. Well, tons of shame comes out of that. So we wrote a bunch. I talked to local leaders, regional leaders. The leaders in Salt Lake City would not talk to me. So we collected thousands of stories of adults who were harmed as children from this practice. And then we did a march. I did a 23-day hunger strike in Salt Lake City, right in front of the iconic Salt Lake Temple. All of this gained huge awareness, huge recognition to the problem. So major news outlets, TV, radio, newspapers. The church made a minor change back then. The change was that if the child wanted to have another adult in the room, that was okay if the child requested it. But they still left. If a parent wanted to come in, the policy said it was only if the child wanted it.
Yeah, so I just mute here because otherwise we get an echo. So the change they did on this terrible thing, because cults always want to shame you. You know, I had the masturbation as a 12-year-old boy, Jehovah Witness boy. I was contemplating suicide due to masturbation. And I noticed both the Mormon Church and the Jehovah Witnesses do this because it's easy to control you when you hate yourself. You will not think critical about the leaders when you're busy hating yourself. And that's a very evil business strategy for billion-dollar businesses. And basically that's, the worthiness interview. You are not worthy. It doesn't come from within. It comes from the church. As Jehovah Witnesses, we have almost the same. You were not supposed to be proud. You should always say that I am a slave. I'm a worthless slave. Nothing I do is never good enough. I deserve to die. But you are allowed to be proud of being a Jehovah Witness. So you separate the good things with the church or the organization and everything that's bad with you. And I see Mormons do the same. So, but the changes they did, the Mormon was basically that if a child don't want to be abused, they can say so, which is putting all the shame on the kid. So they did a small change now. Can you tell us what they did? So I will put on your microphone now.
Okay, so that was the change they made about 2-3 years ago. Now, here's the small victory that just happened. They haven't raised awareness about this issue in any of their general conferences, in any of their publications that members would see or read or hear until last week. They published an essay about hope in marriage. There are now enough people leaving the Mormon Church that the Mormon Church is starting to have to recognize this big time. And so they have families where you have one spouse that's left the church and the other spouse that's in the church, and there's great risk at that marriage divorce. I mean, lots of divorces are happening as a result of this. So the church came out with an essay on how you can, that they gave 3 ways for the spouses to work through this. And they gave one example of working through something. And it was these worthiness interviews. The wife had left the church and she told her husband, I don't want our children to be exposed to one-on-one interviews or the questions about sex that they can be asked. The husband agreed to that, the believing husband. They went to the bishop, told the bishop that they didn't want any one-on-one interviews. They always wanted to be there when there was an interview. Great. That is now raised a little bit of visibility, given permission to members of the church to say, you know what? I might not want my kid to be in that interview. I might not want to have him ask those questions, him or her ask about masturbation or all the other nasty, disgusting, disgraceful questions that cause huge shame on children. So there's no policy change. They haven't spoken these words in a general conference. They didn't put them in a printed publication. It's just online. But still, there will be a few children that will be saved from shame because their parents are going to sit in that room. And as soon as a sexual question comes up, they're going to put the kibosh on it. Or the bishop may not feel comfortable enough asking sex questions with the parents there. So it's a small victory, but I'm looking at if the church is moving in the right direction, step by step. It is still horrendous that they permit this to go on.
So I muted Sam now. So if I translate this into Jehovah Witness lingo, it would be, imagine you would have, everyone would go to a shepherding call with one elder. And you have to be sitting and asking questions, and they ask about your masturbation. Jehovah Witnesses ask how many hours you give to Watchtower. You have to count hours. Basically, Watchtower wants you to waste as much time for the cult as possible, while the Mormons are smarter. They ask for cash, you know. You can actually be a Jehovah Witness. Not many know this. It's possible to be a Jehovah Witness your whole life, from the cradle to the grave, and never pay a dime. That's possible. So that's the difference between Mormons and Jehovah Witnesses. However, Jehovah Witnesses probably pay more in the end, you know. But so the Mormon Wordness introduced is basically telling you all your mistakes every second year. And but now they acknowledge that some people might think that this is bad, and that is, some people say it's not a victory, but I agree with Sam. It's a really good victory because Jehovah Witnesses and Mormons have the same kind of rhetoric. So they can never admit mistake, and they will never, ever, 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 ever apologize. But if you push them really hard, they will be aware of the problems. They will put their lawyers on this and see how can we make sure we don't lose our money. And while they are protecting their money, they're indirectly focus us on the money, no doubt about it, but they're indirectly protecting children. So Sam, well, like Sam is because he's result-oriented and pragmatic. And I would say this is a win because the problem is on the radar. And while they are protecting their money, children are protected. And sorry, can I unmute you? Yes.
Okay, so another reason that I view this as a victory, it gives us another opportunity to talk about it where active believing members can listen. I'm an apostate. I didn't apostatize. They excommunicated me. I was planning on staying in the church, but they kicked me out. And I don't know if it's the same in the Jehovah's Witness, but the worst possible sin that you can commit is apostasy.
Yeah.
So anyway, but members of the church tend to listen to the church, not to people outside of the church. So now here's an essay that we can raise to some level of visibility where members of the church can have this issue raised to them again, where they may not have listened in the past. So it gives us another something to talk about that the church has released.
Yeah, so essays, it's like a Watchtower article, but not a study article, like an experience, I would say, if we describe to Watchtower lingo. And when Watchtower done something bad or something terrible that they cannot talk to, but they need to do it because the lawyers say so. They always use a question from readers. So there's a reader that bring this question. Oh, we never thought about this, but since you asked, we have to. So and it's the same here. It's I guess it's a fictive. It's not a real family, but it's someone called Megan. Name has been changed. That is okay with the bishop asking all these disgusting questions, but want another parent there as a chaperone. And I think she's not a real person, because in Watchtower land she would not be a real person. But at least they are admitting that someone might have a problem with this. And that's huge, because that also means that they are admitting some sort of liability. They cannot 20 years from now say that we had no reason to believe that anyone could have a problem with it. So this is actually a really small thing, but they are admitting liability, and this can be used against them in court 10 years from now, and they know it. So it seems like, me and Sam, we're optimists, and this is actually, that little sentence is deliberately admitting liability for the next future. And so it is a victory. Or am I wrong?
No, you look at it the same way I look at it now. One area that you are a little misinformed, and that is that this was not written by a real couple. It turns out it was.
Oh.
The backstory is out there, but it's okay. So it's a real couple, and the man who wrote the article initially, they were going to have his name on there. So you've got their name here. It's got the name of the person on it. But the church went back and forth on what he wrote. They took a bunch of stuff out of it and added stuff to it, such that the believing man, felt like, well, this is not an accurate presentation, accurate enough for me to put my name on there. So he pulled his name back. So it caused a little bit of a problem with that couple. The believing man, where he was looking at the church at, why can't he be honest about what went on? Now, I don't know what was changed in the article, but whatever's changed in the article, the church left in or maybe modified the thing about the youth interviews, but it's still there. But it was a real couple.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess it was. I don't know who writes Watchtower, but I'm 99% sure that they have fake question from readers and stuff like that. And Raymond Franz also said that. So I apologize to Heavenly Father if I was wrong about that. But what are you going to do? How is this going in the future? Because I was planning to go to Utah in 2019 and then 2020, but we had Corona and stuff like that. But will there be more children's marches?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. So, and I think this is the first time I've ever said this on air. This endeavor cost me a whole bunch of money. So I'm 68 now, not too far away from retirement. And in 2019, I'd been away from my business for 3 years because I'd been involved in this. I'd spent maybe 20% of my time on my business and 80% on Protect the Children. Well, 20% on your business, it loses a lot of traction. And so for the first time in the history of my company, and I've got a little business, 22 employees, we lost in 2019 $299,000.
Oh.
I also had to pay $143,000 to finish up the expenses from the last March. Well, all told, that's close to $450,000. I want to swear here, Jonas, but I know your people
It's okay.
don't like bad words. Okay, I just want to say, God damn it. I put my whole everything into this, into working to protect children from the Mormon Church. And we got some really good results from it. No changes that are super great, but some changes. But still, it cost me a huge amount of money when I'm getting close to retirement. This comes out of my retirement savings. So $450,000, I knew at the end of 2019, I had to put everything aside and focus on saving my company and rebuilding whatever I could for my retirement. Well, so that was January 2020 when I jumped back in. And guess what happened 2.5 months later? Well, coronavirus hit. So it has been a whirlwind of a year. I need to keep focused on the business for the next couple of years to make sure it is sound, and that when I retire, I've got something in the bank. Otherwise, I will be moving to the forest and to a little shack or something. Anyway, that's why I don't have anything planned right now. I've got to get my finances, my business back in order.
Yeah, I obviously have a lot of respect for you, and I know the work you put in. It's a lot of work, It's I know Jehovah Witness apostates that basically are not famous at all. They work to protect children, and they spend hundreds of thousands from their own pocket, And I spend, well, obviously you sacrifice more than me, but it takes a lot of time to do this. So I have a lot of respect for that. But I hope we could have some more March in Nevada. It would be fun, if okay, you know this better than me, but we could just I hope. I would like to help. That's what I'm saying, do things low budget. That's a very Jehovah Witness thing, because Jehovah Witnesses were supposed to waste time for God, so you go around delivering literature. Jehovah Witness is a printing company, basically, so you're asked to go around and sell literature for nickels and pennies, and the Watchtower get nickels and pennies. But since they have millions and millions and millions of people pushing the literature, they make money anyway. That's how it used to be. So the thing is, you should not have any hobbies, anything, just push Watchtower literature. So most Jehovah Witnesses are window cleaners, work as window cleaner 1 day a week. So we're kind of used to do stuff low budget by necessity. Anyway, now I think we can. Yeah, so if you ask for help, I think we can find a way to arrange something. At least we're willing to help. So do you have anything more to say?
Well, thank you very much for your concern for protecting children in the Jehovah's Witness organization, in the Mormon organization, and everywhere. That is a super commendable cause, and I appreciate your moral support was really important to me. I was hoping you'd be able to come out to Utah, but yeah, I absolutely hope to do something like this again.
So yeah, I feel uncomfortable muting you. It feels like I'm, but it's just for the echoes. No, I really wanted to go to Utah and support this. I read everything you wrote. It's very, very similar it's similar, but the opposite of Jehovah Witnesses, but very much the same. And like I always say, this is my sales pitch when I talk to politicians, and they actually listen when I say it this way. I say, politicians don't know how it is to grow up in a cult. We do. And we have to speak up for the children. So, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what you're doing. And I suppose your family, your wife, and them have been supporting you very much too. So, as a cult child, I'm very grateful. So I hope we can have another interview another day. But for now, we have this technical problem. So. We can do it another time. So thank you very much. And I'll give you the last word.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, Jonas. Now that I know your name,
Yeah.
thank you to the Old Testament prophet. I was glad to meet him today. I hope you didn't, you weren't the one that spent the time in the whale, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, thanks very much for this opportunity, for the support, and best wishes in all that you do, and hope to meet you one of these days. Adam March.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, and sorry for the bad quality, and thank you to Sam. And now I'm going to bed. I'm going to clean windows tomorrow, so see you in paradise.